One of the subjects that I've heard you talk about before, James, is sleep divorce. But I don't really know what that means. Can you explain that more to me?
So sleep divorce is a horrible way of describing two people sleeping in maybe separate beds, but more often not in separate rooms. And it could be for different reasons. It could be people want their own space. They want a bigger bed for themselves. They've decided that they need a double for themselves or a king size themselves. It could be because of things like snoring, the sleep apnea. So rather than maybe trying to deal with the symptoms and ignoring the symptoms, because I think sometimes with snoring we laugh about it, we think it's a joke, but it can be the blind side of sleep apnea, as I always bang on about. So they might just decide to sleep in separate rooms. So I think for women, when they become perimenopausal and then the menopause, they start living with the menopause, they're so hot that, anyone near them can just make sleep so difficult. So you might have separate rooms because of that. So it strains the choice of language, because although we call it a sleep divorce, actually it can save relationships. But I think both people in the relationship need to be on board with it.
Sure. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It could be a sign of a healthy relationship that you can have those sleep discussions.
I think definitely, and he's having a discussion about it. So what happens though sometimes is in a relationship you have a sleep dictator. And a sleep dictator is someone who's saying, I want to sleep in this environment, I want to do this before bed, and I want to wake up at this time, and I could not give two hoots what you want because I'm sleeping well and you're irrelevant. And if that's how sleep divorce is coming about, then I think that can be quite damaging, not just to the sleep of one of the people in the relationship, but also to the actual relationship itself, because we're not having that compassionate conversation. So if you are being dictated to in any part of your sleep life, it could be someone wants to eat a sandwich before bed in bed. That would be that's an example of sleep dictatorship that I've had in my work. If it's someone who's saying we've got to bed at 10 o'clock because they're a bit more of an early type, but actually their partner's a late type who needs to go to bed later. If anyone's saying we need to, well, they mean is I need to,
right?
And that can be quite damaging to sleep. So if you are considering sleep divorce, I think it's having that compassionate conversation. Talk about ways that you can sleep separately in a way that suits both people. So, for example, if you're a partner who's quite needy emotionally, I will put myself in this category. If I don't sleep next to Mrs. Sleep Geek, I sleep appallingly. So when I sleep away from her in a hotel or something, what I do is I will take her t-shirt, I will spray it with some perfume, I'll put it on a pillow and give it a little hug before I go to bed. And it smells like Mrs. Sleep Geek, and I get some hug, so it's quite tactile, and that makes me feel more emotionally secure. Because really, what we're talking about here is emotional security. Sure. If you feel emotionally secure, you'll sleep well. So even though you're sleeping separately, you can still create that emotional security if it works for both people. And I don't like that. I think a better way of describing it would be, sleep savior for many relationships. It's a sleep vacation maybe, or it's something that people are trying to do. But then, for example, if you are sleeping separately because of snoring, then you maybe trying to address that issue. If you're sleeping separately because of temperature, it might be trying separate duvets, as we discussed before, looking at what your mattress is made out of, and maybe talking to someone who knows about mattresses, for example, could be a good idea. Yeah. And talking about how that could be changed. It could be looking at your bedding. It could be having a bigger bed will help that, because you've got more space. You're not on top of each other, creating that heat. So if you don't want to sleep apart and you've been forced to do it by a sleep problem, address the problem. If you're both happy with that choice, then there's nothing wrong with it. And if you want to do it but you're a bit unsure, then have a compassionate conversation and work out what works for everybody, not just one person.